Hello and welcome to those joining us from home. My name is Casey Shevin. I'm a divorce lawyer and mediator based in Greater Boston. I'm also the co-founder and CEO of Divorceify, an online marketplace for divorce services that is powered by predictive technology. Every month at Divorceify, we host a webinar in which we share expert advice with divorce clients. It's our hope that these webinars are going to enable you to have the best divorce possible, one that is emotionally sensitive and made more efficient with the use of modern technology. So today we're very excited to bring you an exclusive demo of some truly innovative divorce software, which was created by a divorce survivor. Dtour.life is going to be the technology we highlight in today's webinar, and it is going to be presented by Storey Jones. Welcome, Storey. Thank you so much for being here. Let me tell our audience a little bit about you. Storey is the founder and CEO of Dtour.life. She herself is a divorce survivor who is now thriving in her post-divorce life. Storey's own divorce was a highly complex 7-year legal quagmire that included every emotional and financial challenge a divorce can throw at a person, including a high conflict custody battle. Storey's incredibly painful divorce experience gave her a new purpose and lease on life. She recognizes firsthand the glaring chasm between the human experience of divorce and the legal system. She developed a new business model as a divorce consultant to assist men and women in becoming far more informed, prepared, and supported as they navigate their own unique processes. So she worked as a divorce consultant for a number of years. She also worked closely with divorce legal teams to help their clients be better prepared participants in their own divorce. After doing that legal consultant work for about 12 years in the San Francisco Bay Area, Storey leveraged that experience to build Dtour.life, which brings innovation and technology to an outdated divorce system. Thank God, Storey. Dtour.life enables clients and professionals to work together seamlessly, saving divorce clients time, money, and headache. Welcome, Storey. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Storey is going to talk about how to redefine your experience of divorce. She's going to start with talking about how to change the way you think about divorce, how to change the way you tackle the divorce to-do list. And then finally, she is going to give you an exclusive demo of how Dtour.life works. We're really excited about this software because it is something you can use in a lot of different ways, and you're going to see that in the demo. You don't have to be having an amicable divorce, a mediated divorce, a do-it-yourself divorce. You can be working with professionals. It can be high conflict. It could be low conflict. This software is really a great fit no matter what type of divorce you're having. And we just really think it's going to make your life a lot easier. So we're super excited to share it. And then at the end of our presentation, Storey is going to be passing on a little promo code to the viewers of this, this webinar. And so definitely stay tuned for that. So Storey, I'm going to turn it over to you, and then we'll do a little Q&A at the end with any questions that come in through chat. And I got some submitted to me in advance as well, so I'll ask you those, and then we'll wrap it up. And I will be emailing out a copy of this recording to all of our divorce clients and any of the professionals who have chosen to join this presentation, which is designed for divorce clients. And we'll be sharing that recording and hosting it on our website going forward as well. So thank you so much, Storey, and I'll turn it over to you.
Terrific, Casey. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here. And as you know, I am so committed to making major change in this industry. And what I was so excited when we were introduced several years ago, because you and I are joining a very big legion, I think, of family law entrepreneurs and innovators and thought leaders who are absolutely determined to make a real difference in this world. Enough is enough. And it is through the collective sheer will of all of us that we are actually going to make a difference for families and people going through divorce. And all of the tools that you've built and I've built and all of the rest of the entrepreneurs in this category have built are really dedicated to that. So I'm really thrilled to have the opportunity to speak with you. when we first talk about the cost of divorce, and I know in the promotion of this, you talked about can you save money. And I think what's interesting about the concept of why is divorce so expensive is we talk a lot about the cost of divorce. I think the cost of divorce is actually the heart of a bigger issue. It is, it actually, it's not about, well, how can I do this cheaper and smarter? And at the end of this, I'm going to tell you for, $9.99, sign up for this, and it's going to help you do it faster. I think it's a lot more about the way the system is designed and the traps that we fall into, and the lack of clarity, not knowing how to go through it, not knowing what it actually is, and taking a little bit more ownership over our divorce. That's really where we can make a dramatic shift. And I think what's fascinating is if you look at the last just 5 years, in round numbers, about 2 million people have gotten a divorce. I'm sorry, 10 million people have gotten a divorce in 5 years. And so on top of that, it's all the people that have been divorced. So if you think about the millions and millions of people in the last 5 years who've been through a divorce, we still don't know what we're doing. And I imagine if someone's listening to this, they're probably at the front door of divorce, trying to decide who to hire, what to do. And that's really where the opportunity is to make a shift. So let me share my screen and share this deck just to give you something to look at, so you're not just looking at me as I talk through some of this before I get into the actual demo. So again, our goal is to really redefine the experience. And as Casey started out by saying, really what I like to focus on first is how can we change the way we actually think about it and show up for it? And then we can change how we do it. It's not as simple as just a quick software application or hiring this person and not that person that's going to change it. It's really much more significant than that. So at a very macro level, and the important thing about divorce is that it's as unique as your fingerprint. There are people, and you mentioned, there's amicable, there's high conflict, there's the issue about, custody might be the most important issue to you, about your children. It might be your retirement, it might be the house, it might be any host of issues. And in a very short webinar, obviously I can't address all of the nuances and everything has to stay at a very macro level, but we really understand that every divorce is unique. So when we think about it at a macro level, though, there are really 3 buckets of divorce to think about. The emotional journey is one that honestly we don't spend enough time talking about. I always say if you're breaking up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, there's a grieving process. You might throw things. You might eat a lot of ice cream. You might go drinking with your buddies. You might crawl under the covers and watch movies. We all have a way of processing a breakup. But when we get a divorce, we forget we're breaking up with our boyfriend or girlfriend. What happens is we go right to lawyers and we go right to money and we go right to, punishing and owning and a land grab. And that actually contributes to a significant amount of the cost of divorce. So this is just a way to say there is an emotional journey we want to talk about. Then it's a financial contract, and then it's about kids. Those are really the buckets. And just to take that emotional journey a little further, I think it's not linear. And if we could put it in suspended animation, I'd love everyone to have a year of just dealing with the emotional journey before they even think about the money, because it's very difficult to separate it. And if you remember one thing from this slide, the emotions are expensive. And when we talk about saving money, it's very much how we manage the emotional impact of what we're going through in concert with the fact that we have to address money and issues with our shared parenting. So it affects our decision-making ability, it affects the timeline, it affects the level of adversity, and obviously overall cost. And the other key thing here is your lawyer is not your therapist. Lawyers are really great people. They are compassionate. They are in this business because they are helping families. And that's true for the divorce financial expert. It's true for the parenting plan mediator, everybody. But your lawyer is not your therapist. And behind closed doors, and I know Casey will back me up on this, they don't want to be. It's not what they went to law school for. They are not the best person to guide you. So part of containing cost is containing the outlet around the emotional aspect of it. But let's get into how to really think about the key area of divorce, which is the financials. I like to start by really simplifying and deconstructing, because then everything can get much more complex. But if we really start to think about this differently, whether you were married 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 30 years ago, on the day you were married, you started a business. You went into business with your spouse. That's just a fact of life. You started a company. And the day you separate, you are now selling the business. And all the divorce financial process is, if you've dealt with the emotions over here, is to analyze, how did the company do? What did the company earn? What did it spend? That really translates into the cash flow, which impacts the support, which is basically taking all the money that's coming in and dividing it so that there's some kind of an even, give or take, split of that income. Understanding expenses are critical, because in order to come up with a settlement that works, you have to understand where the money's going and then adjust a lifestyle or adjust a settlement in order to accommodate. Now, again, I don't mean to oversimplify it, but if we can understand that's the nature of divorce, we can show up a little differently for that thought process. The second part of it has to do with assets and debts. What did the company acquire? Did you buy a house? Did you acquire retirement accounts, stocks, cars, boats? What are the things you've acquired? And what kind of debt do you have? Credit card debt, mortgage debt on those assets. And once you evaluate what the company has, now you get into property distribution. So again, at its most simplistic level, that's what the financial contract is about. And I'm going to show you, when I show you the demo, of how we bring that to life and try to make it easier to understand and save money going through the process. And then the third is shared parenting. Now, custody is a word, and I know Casey would agree with me, that I wish we could delete from every legal form in every conversation around divorce. It's an outdated term, and it's so inflammatory. And the truth is, very few cases actually have a traditional custody component. Now, in all fairness, yes, there is a small percentage of cases that has to do with, maybe there are addiction issues, maybe there's alleged abuse, maybe there are reasons why someone has to pursue an actual custody action. But in most cases, and it doesn't mean you have to like your spouse. You might really not like them, and you might really never want to be in the same room as them. But the truth is, we don't own our children, and we shouldn't be thinking about this next chapter in our lives as a custody matter. We should look at it as a parenting matter. And no lawyer should ever be involved. I know they are, but they shouldn't be involved in deciding who has, little Johnny on Tuesday night. That is not about the law. That is about the parents. And the system tends to disempower families. And I really want to empower families to think more about sharing the children. And that can be a 10-90 split, that can be a 70-30 split, or a 50-50 split in terms of schedule. And then in terms of agreements, it's how are we going to co-parent together. So if we think about really dissecting divorce that way, hopefully we can kind of think differently and not just run to a lawyer and say, what do I do? So then once we start to understand the pieces, then it's really about changing how we do it. So own your own divorce sounds really basic, right? This is your divorce, so you should own it. But it's deeper than that. What I like to do is I really believe, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, and I think there's a general agreement that you can let divorce destroy you. You absolutely have the right to do that. But I'm of the camp that we have to let it empower us. And I believe it can be the single most empowering life transition there is. It forces you, and I'm not saying this is where you want to be, but it forces you to take stock of every single financial transaction in your life, to face the facts of what that looks like, and to redefine your life as an individual going forward. And, from a relationship perspective, if this was not a successful relationship, it allows you to redefine what will be successful in your life and get out of something that wasn't working. So it's really feeling empowered. And then what's really key is not abdicating this process to some neutral, sorry, not neutral, but third party expert that you've hired to just take care of you. There's a tendency, because we're so afraid, we're so driven by fear in this process, there's a tendency to run to an expert, a lawyer, and just abdicate and say, take care of me. And the truth is, we forget when we hire these experts, they work for you. Do not hand over your life to them. Take back the power. They work for you. And the more you meet them, the better the result. And I'll explain a little bit more about that later. When we talk about the right professionals, this is really important. And this is all so much why Divorceify is so needed in this world, and why I'm so glad you're here through Divorceify. We think we need a lawyer, but we don't understand that, first of all, divorce has really evolved into a cottage industry, and this is a good thing. It used to be, the old model was you hire, quote unquote, a lawyer, but I don't think we understand that every family law attorney is not created equally.
Mhm.
Everyone has a different set of strengths. Some lawyers are better with certain cases. It's just like doctors. Some have a specialty. Some have a better bedside manner. Some handle cases a certain way. And what people don't understand when they're at the front door of divorce is there is a significant amount of hiring and firing in this industry. And that is so expensive. So take your time, educate yourself, use Divorceify, and really understand the options. Divorce coaches, that's a very important emerging industry. People don't often understand why they need one. But if you do the research and find in certain cases, they are worth their weight in gold. I'm a big proponent of divorce financial experts. I honestly don't think you should ever, 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 ever start with an attorney before you have worked with a financial expert to have all the financials in place. Because what we don't understand is that the law applies to the financial facts, but a lawyer can't give you any advice or guide you until they understand the facts. So again, this is all about saving money, but it's understanding how to rethink it and redo it in order to save money. And then collaborative is a whole other movement, and more of a team model. And we think a team model is more expensive, but actually what you're doing is you're hiring targeted professionals for a shorter amount of time to do precise work. It's much like hiring a plumber and an electrician, to do different tasks within your house. Sometimes you need different experts for different pieces. So it's really important to think differently about the experts you hire. And then the last thing in changing how we do it is get organized. Now, I think when I say get organized, that sounds very pedestrian and almost condescending. Of course you're organized. But again, at the front door of divorce, what I think is lost or misunderstood until it's too late is that this divorce the law applies to an exhaustive amount of facts and an exhaustive amount of paperwork. And when you meet with your attorney, you're going to be given a checklist, or you're going to be handed documents to fill out. And the amount of time and effort it takes to do that is extensive. But you think you hand it over and then it's done. What you don't understand is it is just the foundation, and you are going to be updating and adding, and more detail will be needed, and then more. And the whole reason I built Dtour.life, and what Casey was saying is, it was when I was in the trenches working with clients and working with their teams, when I recognized that a significant contributing factor to the adversity, to the time, and to the money was simply the process of getting all of the data organized. And then it was the process to simply understand it, make sense of it, and then be able to participate in it with your expert and help contribute to a conversation around settlement scenarios. So it's bigger than just sending them everything they need. We talk about cost, we talk about time. Lawyers, financial experts, they all charge by the time. And the less they have to do to simply move paper around, the more money you were going to save. So
If I could interject, Storey. So one thing that clients don't always realize is you can't go to your divorce lawyer and say, well, like, I don't need to show you all these bank accounts. We barely use them. I don't need to show you this old retirement. That's whatever. What we're really fighting about is the house.
Right.
Because actually, one of the most key steps in every divorce is achieving what we call a full financial disclosure, which means even if you think it's not going to be a fight, you actually have to itemize every single asset and debt and the budget that you've been using in your marriage before your lawyer can even put together a proposal for what you should end up with in the divorce settlement. So that information gathering stage where you're laying out every piece of the financial portfolio can drag on for months and months. And the lawyers, as Storey said, are not financial experts. Divorce lawyers look at a ton of marital portfolios, and we definitely feel like we have a lot of familiarity with a lot of different types of assets and debts, but we aren't trained to give advice as to what sets you up for the best financial circumstances for the rest of your life. So that's really the work that a financial advisor does. And I think Storey's talking about, before you engage an attorney, how can you present them with a complete picture so that they really get to cut down on the amount of work they do for you on the front end at a very high hourly billable rate?
That is exactly right. There are 2 points I want to reinforce, because an attorney said to me the other day, someone would email him and say, I want to give her half the house, and I want to give her this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. What do you think? Is that a good settlement? And the lawyer said, I can't tell you whether that's a good settlement or not, or fair or not, until I see everything.
Exactly.
And it's important to reinforce that. I just had a call the other day with somebody. They're panicked because they don't have access. They don't know anything. And what we have to, and this is so much, again, change the mindset. You are not going to enter into any agreement or any settlement
Yes.
or anything until you have the facts.
Right.
So when you're in a situation where one spouse has all the control, which happens a lot, that's okay, because
Yep.
guess what? This process is going to disabuse them of control.
Yes.
And so take the power back. It may take some time, but you are not going to just be handed, X, because that's what they say. And that's the other thing is, well, so-and-so says he or she is only going to give me this. Well, just because he or she says that does not make it true.
Right.
So we have to take a deep breath. The system requires all of this to be disclosed. Yes, someone can try to hide it. Yes, someone can stall and delay, but you are not going to settle until you have it. So it really is important.
Yes.
To realize that. Also, I want to say, lawyers, I have a lot of respect for attorneys, and it sounds like we keep saying go here and don't go to your lawyer. The truth is, lawyers love what they do, but what they do is the practice of law, the
Yes.
movement of a case through the court, the strategy, the preparing for a mediation, all the creative thinking about how to guide you through it. They love that. They're good at that. They get bogged down by everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are really prepared and you use whatever tools you use and you meet them as a peer rather than a victim, just tell me what to do, I don't understand, they will actually provide you with a better result, because that's what they love to do. That's what they're good at. And you will have a better experience, in my opinion, if you meet them there. Because that's what they love to do, and that's what they're really good at.
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna start the demo in a second, but I want to show you the offer, so because then it'll be easier not to come back to it. Let's see, where did I go? There we go. So if you're interested after the demo in Dtour.life, basically we have provided a landing page. So you'll go to Dtour.life/Divorceify. And you'll see a sign up button. And I'm sure Casey will email this out afterwards.
Yes, I will.
So basically you get a free week trial. And then because of Divorceify, we're also extending another 50% off the first month, which is the equivalent of $12 for what actually is 5 weeks. So this is a very, very inexpensive tool to use. So I do encourage you to at least try it and see if it works for you. So Dtour.life/Divorceify. So if you click sign up, now I'm going to stop and show you where that will take you.
Okay, great.
So let me just pull up my other page here. And I want to show you, because we've designed such important UX. Now let me share this screen. This one. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? All right, let's see. Casey, you tell me if ever leave the window. But basically, I'm on a demo site now. But if you click sign up, you come to a page that says sign up as a spouse. So this is what the experience looks like. And I'm just going to use general gender neutral names. I'm just making these up as I go along. Now I have to fake it and use my email so I get the code.
Yeah.
But you put in your email, you put in I have to put in cell phone for the cell phone code of security. We are as secure as it gets, encryption in and out. And there's the email code already. And here's the cell phone code, 459-607. Oops. Sorry, I didn't click and do it because I was clicking around. And then let me just grab that email code that came in. And it's a little bit annoying, but this is why we are so secure.
Yeah, if you're going to be entering your financial data into a site, you really want it to be secure. So it's great that you guys took the steps to make it this level of secure.
Absolutely. There was no other way, from the ground up, multi-factor authentication, etc. Okay. So the important thing is, now I've signed up. It's that easy, but it's email code, cell phone code, and password. So then we just have a few welcome screens so that you kind of landed. What's important about Dtour.life is this is the first digital dashboard in divorce. It's really first and only platform that is really designed. It is absolutely the first that is designed to support all spouses going through divorce, all shapes and sizes, all types of divorce, and every single professional expert in the process. So it is really an exciting opportunity to save money, to be smarter, to be involved. So this is what we call a natural language wizard, and it is so easy. So you're in Massachusetts, so I'm going to say planning divorce in Massachusetts. My my spouse's name is, I'm just making this up. We have the same last name. My spouse and I do have children. Then I'll enter the first child. I'll just say we have Julian. Sorry, trying to type fast and think and talk. Why don't I say he's about to be 10. He lives with both of us because we haven't separated yet.
Right.
He is from this marriage. And then I would add child, and I would just pop in the other children. For this demo, I'll just do one, done adding children. Today, I want to prepare to interview and hire professionals. Your dashboard is ready. It is that easy. And now what happens is I'm now guided to answer another set of questions. This is going to ask about my birth date. And well, I'll just show you very briefly, because then it takes me through some important things. So let's just say, a lot younger than I am. I am female. I am currently employed. I'm going to say that I'm good old Acme Consulting. I earn 125,000. Wouldn't that be nice? Now, former marriage. I've not been married. If I have been married previously, a lot of lawyers need to know information about a former marriage. But for this case, I'm just going to say I'm not, just to move through it. This is all legal forms. Just need to know about military service. If I've hired somebody. So this just gives you an idea of how we fill in really important information. Then there are some questions about my spouse, his birth date, where he works, how much he makes, and then about the actual relationship. So as you can see, in about 5 minutes, maybe 10, then we have a financial wizard that takes you through and asks you about houses and bank accounts and important assets. You have actually saved yourself just by this exercise, and I'm not exaggerating, the entire first hour of your first consult. And everything we design on this platform is to simply short circuit waste and inefficiency.
Yes.
An attorney, right? You would understand that.
Yeah, I mean, when you go interview an attorney for the first time, they have to spend a good portion of that hour asking you those exact questions, like, are you in the military? Is your spouse in the military? Are you employed? Is your spouse employed? And it's not just for their own curiosity. Like, this is what they need to gather in order to give you a projection about how it's going to unfold at the end of the initial consultation. So why would you want to spend 20 minutes of that hour reciting this information to them when you could come share it with them in advance?
It is my absolute pet peeve. I love spending smart money. I love working with good attorneys and getting great strategic legal advice. I can't stand wasting money and time. And you're nervous. You're going through a divorce. You're talking to a divorce attorney. Your mind is, and all you walk out and you write a check, and all you've done is you were interviewed. And progressive, futuristic, smart divorce professionals want this before you walk in. My opinion is, and the truth is, when you're going through a divorce, you don't realize this, but you're a case and it's a set of facts. And once the lawyer actually sees this set of facts, they already know the case. So why not provide that before you walk in? And then they already know the case. And then for an hour, you're getting into exactly what to do next. It's a much more gratifying experience, and it's less scary. And you walk out feeling more empowered. And this is all about, again, changing the way we think and changing the way we show up. So I want to show you. So here's the client. Here's your name on top, your spouse's name on the bottom. And then if you click dashboard, this is a welcome letter because you're brand new to the case. This is your dashboard. We have, should I zoom in a little? Sometimes in Zoom, it's too small because of the share. Basically, what we've done here is we have deconstructed divorce into the 4 key sections. There's all the names and dates and family background, why you're here, your kids, information. There's all the money about cash flow, what you earn, what you spend, assets and debts, which we've talked about, houses, cars, bank accounts, and then of course your kids. And I find for clients, this is so empowering because you walk out of a lawyer's office or meeting with a coach or meeting with a mental health expert or meeting with your financial expert, and you are still, there's no ground, the ground is soft beneath you. There's no firm feeling of what to do next or how to think about it. And having this just gives you a place to go. It gives you a guide as to what to do. We have information, icons everywhere. If you're confused about something, we explain it. So it's very calming. I'm going to exit this because this is an empty case. There's no data in here. And I want to show you what it looks like when there's data in it. Do you see this screen, Casey?
Yes.
Okay, great. So ignore this because this is a professional view. So let's pretend this is that case. And this is a fictitious attorney name, but I'll move that. So you're in your case and you've entered the information. So now I want to show you how it looks and why it's so important. So we have, because of time, I'm only going to talk about key aspects. The family section is information about you, your spouse, the relationship, children, and it all aggregates to a case profile. For you and for any professional who has access to your case, it's all the facts and figures. It's the date of marriage. You don't have to fill any of this out, the professional will, but it's where your case is. It's a kind of a profile, right? It's age, it's contact information, where they're living, it's employment information, where each of you work and your salary levels. Education is important for legal forms. Again, military service, tax filing status, former marriages, which are important if they exist, and your children. So again, just by answering that language, that purple natural language wizard, you've completed your case profile. If you click on your page, it's all here. And then we add a few more things. If the lawyer wants your social, you just type it in. If you're a woman and you want to restore your former name, you just type it in. So there's a little more detail here. The relationship details is great because it has information about why you're here. What are some of the issues? What are the goals of this divorce? What are some of the key issues and questions you have for your professional? Is there a bankruptcy case or a domestic violence case or a DUI or anything else we should know about, etc. So the family sections all are important. Your children, this particular case has 3 children. If you click on the card, behind it is more detail, where they're in school, where they've been living, do they have a therapist, etc. So it's incredibly comprehensive, but so easy to navigate. Now I want to get into more of the financial piece because this is so important. And Casey, you keep me honest on time if I'm
No,
taking
keep
too long.
going. This is great. This is
Okay.
great. Yeah.
So I'm very visual, and I've worked with hundreds of cases, and I know you can be running your own multinational corporation. You can be a CFO. Going through a divorce is really challenging. It's difficult to see your life in on an Excel spreadsheet. I'll be honest with you. It's very, very difficult. So we have a 3-tiered system for assets and debts, and then I'll show you the income and expense. We visualize kind of what have you got. It helps you to make sure everything's there. When you're working with a professional, again, you want them to see what you have, but if they have to go through Excel spreadsheets and attachments and appraisals and mortgage statements, it's a lot of work to figure it out. Once you enter what you have, you scan through. We've got, vacation home, we have 2 cars, we have some cash in the bank, we have retirement, life insurance policy, great 3 kids. We've got, we're lucky, we've got some education, a business interest. What have you got? That just gives your professionals an overview, and it helps you kind of think differently about this divorce. You're dealing with the emotions. Now you're just focused on what do we have. Then what's great is behind each asset, and this is where the devil's in the details. Just like those anecdotes, right? We want to sell the house and split it. Is that okay? We need to know the details. So behind every asset and debt card is more information. Now this will be blank on day 1, but over time, who is on title? What does it cost to carry this house? What are the details of the mortgage? Did somebody put separate property, personal money into the down payment or capital improvement that might be reimbursable, which is a legal issue with houses and real property? So then all of that flows into our net worth report. And again, it's a little better than an Excel spreadsheet. We use color to show when we're ahead of the game. This takes every number, it pulls it in, and then it starts to give you a feel for your net worth. And then all of your debt is isolated here, and then your retirement accounts. So that's your asset and debt, summary card, detail page, net worth report. And this is what's so important with this is you're constantly updating it, and you're starting to imagine what your life will look like when you split things up. Then income and expense. Now, I have to tell you, I think the pain point in divorce, honestly, we've really designed Dtour.life to hit every single pain point. But one of the biggest pain points is income and expense. And it seems like it shouldn't be, but so few people really understand where all the dollars are coming from and frankly, where they're going. We have 2 ways. And when you go through a divorce, you're going to be handed a document that asks to list everything. So again, I really recommend doing it digitally. Whether you do it here or elsewhere, do it digitally because you will be living and breathing that data. So we have designed it 2 ways. If you manually enter it, you click income, and here is the spouse A, Marilyn, and you just put in, we put it in the wizard, but maybe there's a bonus we didn't add, maybe there's some additional self-employment income, any other income, this is where it goes. Then you have the spouse's income. And then if you own property together or business together, joint income. Then manual expenses, let's just say you don't want to link a bank account or you don't have access to an account to link, you just manually enter them. So it's very simple. I'll just come up with, let's say I put in 1 club, I'm going to add 1. We also have a gym membership. So I just type in gym. It's, $100 a month. It's a joint expense. We've done something that gets people so excited, particularly your professionals, but it will change your world. I promise you. And that is, we spend so much money on our children, but we really don't have any idea where it's going. If this is an expense for a child, you can actually, sorry, I picked the wrong one. You can associate it with the child. So let's just say this is because Isabel's an athlete and she needs access to this gym. I'm just making this up. We've
Mm-hmm.
associated it with her. So when I show you a table, you're going to see where all the money goes for each of the children. But before I do that, we have an an INE sync. And the best way to do it is to just link your accounts. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a very simple process. You are logging into your bank. We don't see credentials. Nobody on the case sees your credentials. You click the bank. You enter online, log in. I'm just going to get out of this for a second. It immediately connects with any account. It gives you totals. And then your professional can see what you have. And you can do a blend. You can have some accounts linked and some expenses manually entered. Click transactions, and we have you click transactions, and this pulls in from the bank primary source data. This is gold for your divorce financial expert. This is gold for your attorney, because they don't really want to know that you think you spent $100 a month. They want to know, did you spend $100 a month, and what did you spend it on? And just like before, let's just say this came in as a vacation because it's an airline. Well, actually, that was a sport camp, and that was for Seth's soccer. So you associate it with the child. You can associate it with the business. You can associate it. Let's just pretend this is a utility. And that's how you figure out how much you're spending on this property.
Wow.
And that pulls back. Again, I can't express to you how much money you will save with this, but more importantly, how you will understand more about what's happening in your family.
Yep.
Then you click view report, and we have merged all the inflows and all the outflows. So you can see what comes in every month. This is all fictitious data I can't control, so the numbers are always a little wacky.
Mm-hmm.
But what's coming in, what's going out, the granular data of where it's going. This is really important because there tends to be a lot of adversity around money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a concept. She spends too much. He spends too much. He doesn't earn enough. She works too hard. Whatever it is, it's a concept. We need to deal with the facts and see it. And that's the only way you can get through a case and make decisions. At the bottom here is where we have a table of everything that is going out for this family, for child A, for child B, and child C. And somehow, when you know that you are writing a support check for $3,000 a month, or you are receiving a support check for $3,000 a month, and you see that every dollar is being paid towards X, Y, and Z, it changes the narrative of this divorce. The last two things I want to show you. There's so much more I love talking about, but the very, very important feature here, which honestly is also gold, is our document repository.
Yes.
You will be sending your professional or professionals thousands of PDFs, and you will pay that professional to open, rename, organize, print, highlight transactions, and over and over and over again. You cannot imagine the tens of thousands of dollars I've seen spent just on this. Dropbox is a great tool, but Dropbox is cumbersome. What we have done for you is right here in your case, for the professionals attached to your case, is every single document associated with it. You can associate it with a particular asset. You can make a note. You can download it. You can rename it. So if it comes in as a scan IMG, you can go in here and rename the document. You can create folders to organize it. But this feature alone is going to save thousands of dollars. Then,
if I could just interject, Storey, because I sometimes have to come to the defense of divorce attorneys. Divorce attorneys do not ask you for thousands of PDFs because they want to charge you to look at thousands of PDFs. It's actually because, again, that aspect of full financial disclosure, either the court is saying you need to do a look back of a period of years, or between the two attorneys, they're deciding that this is what they're both comfortable with to assure that you're getting full financial disclosure from your spouse. So, there is a look back period, and it might be a year, it might be 2 years, it might be 5 years, but they're actually going to ask you to pull monthly statements from every asset and debt for that look back period. And they're looking for large transactions going in and out, money that's been moved and hidden or spent down in an inappropriate way. And there are reasons that they're asking to see these things.
Casey, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm talking really fast because I'm worried about
No,
time.
no, of course.
Your lawyer will do this, your lawyer will do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. The system, the process
Yeah.
requires it. And actually, you want all of this from your spouse if
Right.
they are the earner and if they are controlling the finances. So this is a good thing. This is actually what helps in the best of cases, helps. Transparency is absolutely everything. If you're in the collaborative process, everyone is looking at all of this together. That is what divorce is. And
Yeah.
that's, I guess, the point, right? This is kind of the underbelly of divorce.
Yeah.
Is every single scrap of paper, and you want it. So all we're trying to do is help provide a tool where everybody can have access to it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, Casey, you've been in meetings. I've been in so many meetings in the old days when we actually could go to meetings, where everyone in the room has a different version of a net worth report.
Yes.
They have a different version of the budget because that one they printed out from an email last week, and this one they printed out this morning, and no one's looking at the same thing. And I've been in meetings that were $3,000 an hour, but it took an hour to figure out what we were looking at.
Yeah.
So again, the wonderful thing about digital is this facilitates the sharing of a single updated document to everybody. But yes, it is, the divorce system I would like to change. So I'm trying to change the way we think about it, the way we do it, and then maybe the system itself will change, but it does require a lot of it. So we did build a tool to try to help.
It's fantastic.
And then the last thing, I won't go into the parenting plan right now, but you can build your parenting plan agreement on our platform right now, which is, it's a fantastic tool. I love it. At a minimum, if you're working with an expert, it's just a great way to learn what a parenting plan is, how it looks, how it reads, what to think about, things you hadn't thought about. And again, you can spend an hour learning what a parenting plan is and pay $300 for that or $500 for that. Right. Or you can use a tool like this that has it all laid out, and you can go into the first meeting already ready with a draft. We are facilitating the workflow. We are not telling you what you're going to get in a divorce. We're not telling you what your parenting plan should look like. We're not telling you how to distribute property. We are simply trying to help you learn and organize and work with an expert in a more empowering way. The important thing about the platform is you can use this on your own. Your lawyer may say, we don't want to use technology that way, just send us PDFs. This is fantastic for just working and managing your own case. But we love it, and we really did design it so that you could share it with any of your professionals. So if you click case settings, you're the client. So down here is where you would invite your professional. So you would put in their email. They will get an email alert with a link, and then they'll log in, and your case pops up, and they'll have access to it. And this is pure transparency. At any time, you can see who has eyes on the case. And a lot of questions we get are, is this something you have to use alone? Can you use it with your spouse? Do you have to use it with your spouse? We designed this to be very flexible. You can just use this on your own. You can just use it with your attorney. You can use it with your entire team. You can use it with your spouse. You can invite your spouse and actually collaborate and do all of this together, which, by the way, is the most intelligent way to do it, because you're just exchanging information. So work on it together. So it can work in any way that you are working in your case, however your case works. So Casey, I just want to say, is there anything else you think that I should touch on?
Storey, this is fantastic. So here's a couple things that came up in Q&As about this type of software in advance that I wanted to put out there. So one thing that I wanted to note is that you don't have to have all of these financial documents uploaded and organized before you go see an attorney. Like you can really use this to get organized at any stage. Like you could be in the middle of the process with an attorney and be like, man, this is getting out of control. I don't feel like it's efficient. And you could start using this at any point to get organized, right? It doesn't have to be right at the beginning. That's not the only time. Another question is, could you use this when you're in that preparatory stage, like in conjunction with a divorce coach? And you had outlined many different types of professionals that you could invite to the software. And I actually think coaches can be a great asset. So, Storey, you were a divorce consultant, which is very similar to a coach, if not the same thing by another name. The idea being somebody who is helping keep you on track, helping keep you organized, helping talk through your emotions, helping all of those things. It's not quite a therapist. It's a little bit more like task oriented usually. But the coach could be invited to this platform, correct? And you could give them
Oh,
access and
is a fantastic platform for coaches
great.
because it's really about preparing you for working with an attorney. It's
Mm-hmm.
scary to talk to a divorce attorney. It really
Yeah.
is. And we're trying to help you work smarter.
Mm-hmm.
And coaches are so valuable, but because this is so visual, you know, they know what a lawyer or any legal expert needs or a mediator needs to have. And you're so right, you know 10% of your own situation on day one.
Right.
So it's all about, you don't need to know who's on title necessarily the first day. Well, it depends in different states, but it's just knowing enough. So this will help you work with a coach to identify what and when, and over time you will fill in.
I think it's great. And you know, the other piece that I wanted to ask about is sort of the idea of the heavy lifting that goes into the organization process. So when you are getting all those documents organized and you're gathering all the pieces that your divorce attorney is asking you to submit, what if you get pushback? Like, what if the attorney is like, just email that to me? Like, what is this thing you're asking me to log into? You know, I don't want to make Storey answer that, so I'll just answer it myself, which is that when you interview a divorce attorney, you should be asking them how willing are they to work with modern technology, right? Because you know, it is an outdated system. Many courts are extremely paper heavy. Lawyers are really just starting to learn how to use these tools in the last like 3 to 5 years, and many of them may not have incorporated them into their practices yet. But if they're open to doing it, that's a great sign. Because if I were an attorney who had not been exposed to this software before, and I had a client ask me to use it, my first reaction might be like, oh God, now I've got to learn how to use this. But when I start using it, I'm going to want to use this in every case I have going forward, because this really does make the attorney's life so much easier. So really, do not have guilt about asking your attorney to use something new that they've never used before. They work for you. If you decide that this is how you want to navigate the process, then they should either be willing to work with you within this system, or at least be willing to try it out, you know? And if they're totally unwilling to do that, then you might want to take a second look at, is this the person I really want to work with?
That's the key there, Casey, because if a lawyer wants to earn money pushing paperwork, that's the wrong attorney in today's world. And I'm just sorry to say it just is true. Now, the way we designed this, and all of this was very deliberate. This is not software you download and have to watch a training video to figure out how to use it.
Right.
You saw, it's like a website. It's very sophisticated, multi-million-dollar software, but it's a website. You click on family and and you click on the name and there it is. So there's nothing to learn. The other thing is that there are some key reports here. We have a case profile report. We have an income and expense report and a net worth report. You can just create a PDF. You can just create a PDF or print it and take it in.
Yep.
And so all you're doing, again, and I think lawyers also get nervous about the practice of law. It's a little like doctors. Don't look it up on the internet,
Right.
Medicine, right? So I think they get nervous about, we don't use that because they don't want someone else to tell you what your support calculation is going to be, or to tell you what your property distribution is going to be. We are an agnostic platform, simply serving up the data. We think in a more visual way so that you can actually have a much more productive conversation. So we think once they see it, they will like it. But if they're really against it and you really don't want to change professionals, just print a PDF of the report.
That's such a great point. It's such a great point, because it's really like what they are asked, the information you're asking for, they're asking you to present them with anyway. Just you have an easier way to input and gather it all. keep yourself organized. I can't tell you how many divorce clients came into my office with giant binders like this. And
Oh,
let me tell you, going through a giant binder is not going to save you money. I'm going to be like flipping through every page. Why'd you highlight that? What's that about? So I think that this is a great tool. Yes, it's new. It's something that you do not need to be afraid of. I think this is super user friendly. You did an awesome job with that story. You made it really easy to use. And I think that the offer divorce that Storey has put on the table for Divorceify clients just makes it so easy to try this out. For $12, you could have a 5-week trial of this, so give yourself the time to really look at it. And, then come over to Divorceify and use us to help find some modern divorce professionals who are game to help you have the most efficient divorce possible. So I am going to be emailing out in several days. I'm going to be emailing out a link to the recording. The email will have the promo code in it. It will have a link to this specific landing page here that Storey is showing you on the screen. And then I really encourage you to get started. And, if any of you wanted to speak to somebody from the Dtour.life team on the phone, I'm sure that they have some, ability to
oh,
set that up with
absolutely.
you. And Storey, thank you so much for giving us almost a full hour of your time. This is like incredibly valuable. So we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Casey. I really want people to have a better experience and not be so afraid of this. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And so
Yeah.
we have to find a way to do it better.
Yeah.
And so many people out there are really behind it, a movement to change it. So I'm glad they're here. I think that's a start.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we hope to talk to you again soon.
Great, Casey. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Have a good day, everybody.